Shrewd Manager Christianity's position. The shroud's cloth matches the Gospels in several direct and inferred ways. In my previous videos, I've argued that the shroud image is Jesus. Now I want to consider the fabric itself. Does the fabric match the Gospel's description of Jesus' burial cloth? The Gospels tell us very little. In accordance with Jewish burial customs, Jesus' body was wrapped in linen and placed in a rock-cut tomb. The cloth was bought by Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy and powerful first-century Jewish man who believed Jesus' teachings. While this is not much to go on, there is room for investigation. First, the shroud is physically consistent with this bare description. It is linen and large enough to wrap an adult man. Some observers say the Gospels refer not to a shroud-like cloth, but to strips of linen. Let's look. Here's what the Gospels say, with some help from Strong's Concordance. Joseph of Arimathea wrapped, or rolled up, or enveloped, or bound, or tied, or fastened Jesus' body in a clean linen cloth, or fine linen cloth. John uses the plural, linen cloths, or bandages, or wrappings, or clothes. Later, John and Peter saw these strips of linen lying in the tomb. Peter also noticed a cloth, or handkerchief, or headcloth for the dead, or towel, or napkin, lying separate from these other linen items. So while strips of linen may be a legitimate reading, so is this. Jesus' body was rolled up, or enveloped, or wrapped in a fine linen cloth. There's no problem for the shroud. These scholars agree. After a detailed word study, a review of Jewish burial practices and early Christian tradition, these authors conclude, it is likely John's use of the plural for the cloths in the tomb refers to all the grave clothes associated with Jesus' burial, the large sindon, the shroud, as well as the smaller strips of linen that bound the jaw, the hands, and the feet. Second, Joseph was a Jewish leader who bought a cloth to wrap a Jewish man in accordance with Jewish burial customs. Jewish law prohibits weaving wool and linen together. The shroud fits. This chemical analysis found no traces of wool within the linen. Third, Joseph believed in Jesus. It's not too bold to expect that cloth bought by a rich man to wrap the Son of God would be of top quality. The shroud is of handmade linen, which was a labor-intensive material expensive to produce. Flax is planted, harvested, bundled, cured, and de-seeded. The outer fibers are separated, beaten, and combed. The flax fibers are then spun or twisted into thread. The shroud's thread has a uniform size, is spun in a counterclockwise twist, woven in a complex weave pattern, and has a thread count that compares favorably to burial cloths of Egyptian royalty. All these traits show high quality and expense. So we conclude that the shroud fits these gospel features. It is a large linen cloth that meets Jewish laws of composition, with materials and craftsmanship befitting purchase by a reverential and wealthy man. There's another feature I'll introduce here and address in the next video. Regardless of what you think about the veracity of the New Testament, the events are explicitly set in first-century Palestine. One example among many will suffice. In Jerusalem, Jesus met with the Roman prefect Pontius Pilate. Historians know Pilate had that role for 10 years, ending in AD 36. So the cloth must be at least that old. Next, I'll show how the shroud's dimensions support an ancient date of fabrication.